Hello Capricorns and those with a Capricorn dominance in your chart. I'm so happy to be here with you to do your Leo season reading. It's a monthly reading I offer. I'll explain the positions of the cards as we go through, but if you would like to leave me a question to have answered through the cards for free, just look in the description box below for details on how to do that. You can also look down there to find a timestamp so you can jump over to the intuitive part of the reading as I do start with messages from the books. So our first card out is going to be in the center here, and this is really about our heart space and leading from this area, leading a heart-centered life. So the message on this card is: all is possible when your heartfelt vision is in alignment with your values. Believe in your dream, love it, breathe it, and let it fill your thoughts. But you must take action also. Work towards it a little each day until it becomes your primary action. Dreams are first envisioned, but then they must be built. You will succeed if you work at it. And then we are going to start in the middle on the left with a card that's going to represent the first house, or Aries. And we're going to move counterclockwise around the wheel until we get to the 12th house of Pisces. And we're going to take a card from a different deck as we go along. And this first card out is from the Chinese Oracle, and you have Rabbit. Now, this is really about your identity. Elegant, tender, and gentle energy. Exquisite, gentle, nimble, kind-hearted, meticulous, conscientious. Accompanied by a dragonfly, the rabbit gently stands on the shoulder of a fairy with an air of elegance and peace. He guards the territory and bears his responsibility firmly without any timidness and concession. It also came out in the Yang position, which means gaining real strength by fusing both charm and force. That totally sounds like a Capricorn to me. So we're going to move down to the second house now, which is representing all things Taurus in nature. So what you value. And you have the cow from the Celtic Shaman's book. The head of a white cow with great up-sweeping horns looks out from the card. It is surrounded by vibrant energy and magical symbols of the journey. The cow was a symbol of richness and plenty among the Celts, and wealth was judged in the number of cattle one possessed. There is also evidence of the healing properties of cow's milk, making this totem an important source of well-being. And the third house is for Gemini, everything having to do with communication. From the Tantric Dakini Oracle, you have as above, so below. A flowery mandala is depicted set against a background of mysterious mountains, glowing in the morning light of a new day. In the world below, the raw energy of the earth is seen bursting forth as molten lava from a volcano. Above is the refined essence of consciousness, suggested by the quality of the light and the expectancy of the fresh air and space. The flower is as if protected on the mind sky from the clouds or mountains, mirroring itself to produce the rich image of purple and red in the form of a mandala or mystic protective enclosure. In the two worlds of above and below, it mirrors itself to form a single unity. It has been attributed to the emerald tablet of Hermes, the supreme alchemist. That which is above is as that which is below, and that which is below is that which is above, for performing the miracles of the one thing. Thou shalt separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently and with much care. It ascends from earth to heaven and again descends to earth, so receiving the strength of both superior and inferior things. By this means you will have the glory of the world, and because of it all obscurity will leave you. Your fourth house, this is the house of family, of your home, of your ancestry, of memory. And we're going to take the card from the prophet. You have, tell it not in words. There are those among you who seek the talkative through fear of being alone. The silence of aloneness reveals to their eyes their naked selves, and they would escape. And there are those who talk, and without knowledge or forethought, reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. And there are those who have the truth within them, but they tell it not in words. In the bosom of such as these, the spirit dwells in rhythmic silence. The fifth house of Leo. This is really about your ability to put your power out in the world and have a sense of not self-entitlement, but respect for yourself and leadership through that kind of self-respect. You have the desert from the Egyptian-themed deck that I use. This is the sacred archetypal element of fire. In the desert, we are surrounded by sand and a fiery red sky, with sun pouring down on the ground and wavy energy rising into the air. This is not a mirage, but rather another dimension, the domain of fire. Many mystics have quested for answers to life's deepest questions in that place of aridity, fire and heat, for it is the place of true transformation. The energy of fire is quick. It consumes everything in its path in the blink of an eye. The energies of fire push us toward the death of the old and the struggle for new birth. For when we get out into the desert, we realize how tenuous our hold is on life and how easily and quickly we might perish. Yet it is in our willingness to die to the old and leap into the fires of transformation that we surrender the outcome and the future to wisdom beyond our egoic minds and egoic designs. Trial by fire speaks of the tempering quality of fire. It burns away the dross, which includes everything except the essence of what needs to be carried forth. Out of the flaming heat, the scorching fires of transformation, true wisdom is born, rising up out of the desert pyre like a phoenix with brilliant multicolored feathers, glinting in the relentless sun. When you draw the card, it indicates that you are in a fiery process of death, rebirth, and transformation. Spend some time sitting before an open fire or in the sunlight. Light some candles, especially in the dark days of winter. As you meditate on the desert and fire, consider what no longer serves you and offer it to the fire. Ask the fire to embrace and guide you safely through your transformation. Fire can provide you with the courage to face whatever challenge is before you and the energy and vitality to accomplish your goals with responsiveness, wit, and passion. I am definitely feeling Capricorn energy through all this. Okay, so as well with this next card. So the next one's going to be for the 6th house of Virgo. And from the Enchanted Spell Oracle, we have opulence, luxury, material riches, plenty. When the opulence card appears, it is suggesting that you find small ways to bring more joyful luxury into your life. Perhaps you have been a bit miserly with yourself lately, worried about money and trying to stick to an unreasonable budget that allows no room for treats or fun. Small weekly luxuries that don't break the bank can make life all the sweeter. Thinking that money is the root of all evil, or deciding that anyone who has plenty of money is a crook, is a surefire way to make your relationship with money a rocky one. The priestess of opulence is portrayed upside down for a reason. Perhaps your ideas about wealth need to be turned upside down. For instance, delighting in paying the bills rather than grumbling about them is a real and effective way to attract the positive energy of wealth into your life. Okay, Caps, we're moving on to your 7th house of Libra. And from the Goddess Power deck, we have Green Tara with the message of salvation for you. The Divine has intended you into being and given you the assignment to explore life through certain perceived limitations. You're meant to learn about life and all its complexities, especially learning about how to be in community with others. Green Tara, a Tibetan goddess, also known as She Who Saves, says that you will never be alone in life's journey. This compassionate savior goddess of intimate friendship will ensure that the right people will show up for you at the right time. Green Tara reminds you that your needs will always be met. You don't need to know the how, as that is her domain. You just need to trust, and the goddess Green Tara will use her magic on your behalf. You are safe and secure and always in the care of the Divine. The 8th house of Scorpio. Your card's coming from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. And for this month you have Ancient Ones. The Ancient Ones are the shamans of old who defeated death and escaped from the tyranny of time. The Ancient Ones once walked the earth like us, in flesh and bone. Now they reside in infinity and can counsel us after we say yes to our calling. They are available to help us attain our full realization. The Ancient Ones are inviting you to reach to the future to help birth a new destiny for the earth. Go ahead, find out who you are becoming 10,000 years from now. If you accept the invitation, great power and blessings will come your way and allow you to craft a new destiny for yourself. Do not hesitate to bite off more than you can chew, because you have unlimited spiritual resources available right now. And your 9th house of Sagittarius, the card is from a yogic path. And you have Hanuman, the god of courage. This god represents the evolved mind and the potential we all have to no longer be enslaved to our thoughts, but rather surpass them. When Lord Rama asks Hanuman, "How do you look upon me?" Hanuman answers, "When I believe I am the body, then I am your faithful servant. When I know I am the soul, I know myself to be a spark of your eternal light. And when I have the vision of truth, you and I, my Lord, are one and the same." To draw upon Hanuman symbolizes you are aware of this truth. You are more than your physical body, your ego self, your personality, your soul. The truth is that you are the divine, as we all are, split from the same source. Continue to practice meditative states where you are reminded of this universal truth to aid in your evolvement. And the 11th house of Aquarius. Oh, I'm sorry, actually, I almost skipped your own house. The 10th house of Capricorn. From the Heart Path Oracle deck, we have self-protection, setting boundaries. The armadillo is an interesting critter. It seems quite aggressive and ready to fight with its very tough armor-like exterior. But it is actually a very gentle and unassuming leaf eater. Armadillo people appear to be assertive and threatening. But this behavior is just an illusion, a form of protection. They are really very sensitive and compassionate people who can be taken advantage of if they are not self-aware. If you have received this card, it is important that you set loving boundaries and allow only positive energy to sustain you. You need to define your personal spaces for work, play, and relaxation. Keep to the boundaries you have created and be careful who you have let in, as they are empowering you or weakening you. Go by how you feel. Digging is a favorite pastime of the armadillo. It is a skilled excavator. It has the ability to unearth things you can't or won't see. The armadillo signals a time of awakening for you. Synchronicities, messages, and insights will manifest right before your eyes. Go into the iris portal for guidance and trust that what you receive will elevate you to a new level of awareness. There you will find health, prosperity, and inspiration. Old concepts and projects will blossom when you rework them with this new vision. Take risks, but keep these new projects hidden until you are sure that you are ready to share them with the world. If what you create is for a higher good, you will succeed. The 3 ladybugs will see you are rewarded for your accomplishments. The ancient tree of life and the newly sprouted rosebud want you to think about working with the young and old. They have much to teach you about life, love, and gratitude. Okay, dears, so now we are going to move over to the 11th house of Aquarius. And from this sacred geometry oracle, you have the Sri Yantra about meditation. From the Hindu tantric tradition comes the Sri Yantra, a great object. Its 9 interlocking triangles form a powerful symbol for meditation. The proportions of the largest triangle are the same as each face on the Great Pyramid at the Giza in Egypt. The dimensions of that pyramid conform to the divine proportion of the pi ratio. The math and mysticism involved in the exploration of sacred geometry create ever-expanding connections as we begin to see a multitude of cross-cultural influences. This becomes common ground for art, science, and spirit. The rings of lotus petals and the surrounding square with 4 doors represent boundaries within which consciousness resides. Drawing this card suggests you may find yourself needing protection or a break from the chaos and overstimulation of the outside world. Use this yantra as an ordered space within which to find the peace you require. By your intention, move into the symbol and experience time as a place of stillness in the eternal now. Breathe deeply as you focus your attention on the simplicity of each triangle, moving from the largest to the smallest at the center, and then from the smallest to the largest and back into your daily life. May peace surround you. And the 12th house of Pisces. This card is going to come from the White Light Oracle. And you have the mandala of the heart. The mandala of the heart is the expression of the divine feminine power within. It is the life-changing experience of love, healing, compassion, deep repair, and restoration that can only happen when we feel safe and loved enough to truly let go. Despite what the wounded opinions of ego might have one believe, love is the most powerful consciousness on the planet. It is also highly intelligent. As we open to heal with the frequency of love in our hearts, we naturally evoke positive efforts in the lives of others too. We attract positive intervention from spirit. Pathways open up. Magic happens. When the 528 Hertz mandala of the heart appears in your reading, you are being put on notice that the divine feminine has a vision for your soul and is organizing events accordingly. She will guide you through your heart, and with her protection, the manifestation of your soul path is assured. All right, my lovely Capricorns, I'm going to take a look here intuitively at what's going on in this spread. I feel like something in your heart space is really activated and wants to start shining through. There's a lot of movement here, a lot of energy that is expressing passion and some insight that you've gained. And there's this real sense of wanting to extend this out into your environment and to allow yourself to really be heart-centered, which is kind of ironic because that is one of the central themes to this reading. So it's like you're fully in the energy of this reading at this point. So that's just very positive to see. As we move over to the first house, I am seeing a sense of reflection, of maybe kind of pausing, not being as busy and productive as you've maybe been in the past, like even though that you need to be, just kind of needing a pause. There's a certain feeling of kind of burned outness, and you're not really able to completely fly and soar, and there may be some things that you're not looking at with yourself that are in the shadow that may be something that you kind of need to look at, that you've been ignoring, how your identity is not necessarily completely integrated, like how you're appearing and how you truly feel inside, which for most of us is not. Like maybe you're not really stepping into a sense of something greater than who you're presenting to the world. And you may want to do that, step into a heightened sense of power, something beyond you, and start working with that type of energy. When I look at your values, I'm seeing that well, first there's a lot going on here. Like you may have your focus on multiple things that you want to be kind of resplendent. They do kind of feel like coins or kind of majestic. So you may be focusing on bringing in actual objects of luxury into your life and doing that in a way where they're being made manifest through the energy that you hold, and the energy is very intense in the sense that it's working with all the energies for the most part, like every type of energy coming together to produce these. They're beyond morsels, these significant forms of wealth with a significant type of resonance to them. You may want to identify a little bit with the ancient female energy of a being that is in itself ever productive, ever able to give and produce, and realize that the energy that's cultivating what you're manifesting is coming from this same ancient source of fertility, of Gaia energy in a way, like abundance, that's just naturally made through an innate sense of creativity. In your communications, I'm seeing that you maybe kind of had some very stalled out, immensely intense, blocked energy here, very stormy, moody communication that has really created like a landscape that does not seem comfortable for yourself or anyone else to traverse. It's certainly not inviting. Though what does seem to be emerging is maybe you coming into an idea of how to connect with what's actually going on and what you're actually perceiving inside, and maybe you're getting a greater grasp on reality, and you're as well as understanding what you really think and feel inside, and you're trying to harmonize these two things a little bit more, it looks like. Yeah, there's even a sense of like some real fiery language that may have come before as well, that you're learning to temper into something a little bit more beautiful, like the higher resonance of passion instead of like a lower resonance of, just kind of a spouting type of anger. So that seems very healthy. It looks like in your home life and your identification, even like with the mother energy and memory, reflection, that you are in that energy yourself. And you may be feeling a little bit isolated in that. It doesn't necessarily feel like too terribly bad. It's just a space that is very, very deeply reflective and may not be making you feel the most joyful and expressive and outwardly. But it seems to be an energy that you're in, and it's just part of the natural cycle of existence. So if you're in this space, then that's where you are. And hopefully you have a home space that will allow you to indulge in this, to have quietude and time to reflect on things of the past, especially if they're concerning a mother. Which is ironic, because then when I look at the space where you're able to perform yourself and be out in the world, it's filled with a sense of power, a sense of creativity, a sense of vibrancy, and kind of newness. Like there's a lot of space here to create and to just, like anything could kind of happen feeling there. In your day-to-day kind of duties and stuff, your routine, it seems a little topsy-turvy. You're kind of, you may be kind of indulging in some things that have you kind of turned around, and you may be feeling somewhat in touch, like a sense of primal sexual stimulation from this. You may be kind of indulging in some things like that, and even getting into experimenting with some occult or even Asian theories here. So it's kind of an interesting energy to see. Like it feels very experimental, very playful. There's a sense of jest to it, and just sort of this relaxation into like life can be pleasurable and fun, and we can play a little bit while we're exploring different things. In your relationship sector and this idea of kind of harmony and balance, I am seeing that you seem to be, for the most part, very happy, very stimulated by your environment, and able to give your environment a lot of stimulation as well. And you're having good thoughts, healthy thoughts. Things are blooming. There's really good energy there. You may be speaking and seeing things, though, with a little bit of envy, a little bit of greed, a little bit of jealousy. So you may want to look into tempering that a little bit. But there's only really a hint there, or somewhat of like a filter there. Now, in your sense of mystery and your subconscious, things feel murky here. There may be something going on with an elder, particularly a female elder. Of course, perhaps related to you, or that you would identify as family. They have that level of closeness. And it seems like they may be in spirit now. And they have a very grand dame sort of vibe to them, and a very enlightened energy. And there's also a sense of sort of this person maybe having a little remorse, a little sadness, a little concern, and that even if they are in this position, that they're still growing into it. They're still learning their energy. They may be cleaning out things from their earthly existence and reassessing through memories. Perhaps they're able to see their, past when they were here, and learning how to be maybe a better, well, I think right now they're just kind of confronting maybe their mishaps, and through that process I think they're transforming basically, and in the process of learning how to best serve where they are now. In your position of things that feel foreign to you, things that are of higher mind, even philosophies, you seem very stimulated in this area, very balanced, connected here, and enjoying this type of thought. It gives you, I definitely get that sense of like you like to kind of ground through this energy, and it helps center your mind and create focal points that also feel like they're very infinite, even though they are focused. And it gives your whole body a sense of spaciousness and connection to different realities. So that's a very healthy energy to see. In your position of really outwardly achievement-based perceptions of you, I have a sense that you are doing a lot of watching, and that you're starting to get more connected to something that you love that's starting to emerge. And you seem very busy with what you're watching. There's a lot that you're, at least 3 different projects that you have your eyes on. And those that are around you, you may not actually be focused on them so much, but they may, it's like you're watching something, but you have your energies extended in all these different directions towards people in your environment, and they feel trapped in your physical expressions or this physical realm that you're in. And maybe they're not even being seen for who they are. They're just sort of captured, and they may feel even protective, defensive around you. So that is something I would definitely look at, because it seems like this isn't really intentional behavior by you, but it's having a fairly profound effect on the people that you are around, especially if you are in a career or work environment, especially if you have leadership in that environment. Now, when we look at what's going on here with your sense of uniqueness and your desire to allow others to be vulnerable, and you wanting to protect people because of their vulnerabilities, you have a very high energy here. It's very protected and completely in balance. So perhaps you are doing something where you're trying to extend your sense of identifying with what is vulnerable and unique about yourself, and offering that to the larger collective, protecting that for the larger collective. It's really, really a very special energy I'm seeing there. And then when we're looking at your ability to transcend reality spiritually, to be part of collective consciousness, I am seeing you taking a little respite from reality. You are honoring and calming and just acknowledging your heart space in a way that's very loving and gentle. And you're really feeling the energy around your groundedness, and that's helping envelop you. Like, you may be feeling quite stable right now, and that gives you a sense that you can rest a little bit and allow yourself some time to just be stimulated by thoughts, and letting those thoughts just sort of extend, and there be a space of thinking in a way that really goes beyond the mundane, that really extends into the sense of knowledge that's just beyond how the mind thinks in its normal wakened state without being in a meditative state. So maybe during times when you're getting ready to go to sleep, you can plan to do a little bit extra meditation at this time, or some meditation at all. And this may help soothe you and realize that you're safe, and that you're protected, and that you've been protecting maybe your heart, and it's okay. And that's just where you are. And it just may be that you need to just take a little pause just to acknowledge where you actually are, to acknowledge what kind of energies you are in. So we are going to wrap your reading up right there. And I want to thank you for sharing this with me. It was so enlightening to go through this. And please see my other playlists. I do like 5 or 6 other themed readings throughout the weeks and days here. So you guys take care. Stay blessed.